Hello there, Paul. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Hello, Paul. Good afternoon. Can you hear
hello.
me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining, and sincere apologies for the late start of the lesson.
Okay.
That's the reason why we don't have our participants here. We're supposed to start from 12 to 1, but I think they waited and waited. But you are here, so we can start, right? So let's start. Today, I want us to look at some tidbits for our BSc examinations. And some of the things that sometimes we do as students that we are not aware of, that takes away our marks, and we need to address them so that we can avoid some of those mistakes, so that we can earn the marks by the way they come. Okay, so want to review the maths paper first. When we are able to review the maths paper, then we'll look at some of the tidbits on the mathematics paper, and from there we'll see whether we can answer some few questions on sets if we have the time. So for today, we are looking at the maths paper for the BSc. It is a 2-hour paper. It is a 2-hour paper, and it consists of paper 1 and paper 2, as you know. And it is going to start with the paper 2 that will last for an hour. And in that paper, you will be required to answer 4 questions out of 6. I'm sure you are familiar with this. So you make a choice of 4 questions out of the 6, and you answer them within 1 hour. That means that each question is 15 minutes maximum. Okay, so you have to take your time and go through the 6 questions and decide which 4 of them you will be most comfortable with, because all of them carry equal marks. So the one that you are most comfortable with, you go and select that one. And then the paper 1 is also 1 hour for a maximum of 40 objective questions. And that one, you will have to answer all of them or attempt all of them. That's the instruction. You will attempt all of them. It's advisable that you answer all. You make an attempt on all of them. Even if you don't have an idea, you have to attempt all 40 questions. Okay, so then let's see some of the tidbits that we require students to know of, so that going into the exams, they can familiarize themselves with some of those tidbits. Okay, so first of all, I will encourage that. Can you hear me, Paul?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to, and I'm sure you can see the screen, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. If we are beginning, we want to say that, let me encourage you that when a paper is given, you would have to read the question thoroughly. Okay. Read the instructions thoroughly. The instructions to the question, read them most thoroughly. The one that appears on the front page, before you start or before you hear the start work bell, read the instructions carefully. Sometimes, even though we are already aware, we may not know something may have changed, and it gets us into the best position to start the exams. Remember to do all rough works within the answer booklet. If you want to do any rough work, do it within the answer booklet. Don't do it on the question paper. Okay, And if you are doing it within the answer booklet, preferably let it be close or nearer to the question you are working on. Your question, whose rough work you are working. Let it be closer to it. Okay. Directly or indirectly, rough works can attract marks. There are times, because in the exam, the brain or the mind moves faster than the hand. There are times that what your mind is saying is not what your hand is writing. So you can have some differences. But if we look at your rough work and you have done something at your rough work that is correct, we can mark that rough work whose answer is correct. Even though the main one in your presentation is wrong, we can mark the rough work which is correct for you. So let all your rough works be closer to the question that you are answering. And do not answer or write or do your rough work on the question paper. Rather do them on the and inside the answer booklet, closer to where the question you are answering is. The third one I'll talk about is don't cancel your work, even if it is a rough work. Do not cancel it. Examiners or people who are going to mark your scripts are going to look out for everything that you have written. A cancelled work is a work that you are telling the examiner that this one, don't look at it. Don't look at it. But sometimes that can rather be the correct thing, like we just said. Maybe when you were doing that rough work, you did it correctly. But when you were you were inputting the answer into the presentation, because the mind and the hand are not working at tandem, you end up writing something different from what your mind has said. Okay, so don't cancel any work, even if it's a rough work. And sometimes you are answering the question, you think that it's wrong, you want to start all over again. So you cancel it and then begin all over again. No, don't cancel it yet. Don't cancel it yet. Go and start the one you want to begin all over again. Go and begin it and make sure you have finished it. Okay, don't cancel any work. Then, if you work out an answer and it happens to be money, okay, it happens to be money, or a currency like Ghana cedis, like US dollars or Naira or a peso or something, remember that you have to leave the final answer of that question, which is coming in terms of a money or a currency, in 2 places of decimals, in 2 decimal places. Okay, so assuming, for instance, you work out a solution and then your final answer is 75 Ghana cedis. 75 Ghana cedis. That 75 Ghana cedis should be written as 75.00 Ghana cedis, like this one. Okay, that's the right way to present an answer which comes in the form of money, in the form of a currency. If you present the answer this way, you are going to be penalized. Okay, because it's money, it must come in 2 places of decimal, 2 decimal places. So 75.00. Okay, but if, however, the answer, which is money, comes with its own decimal places, it's already having 2 decimal places in it already, then that one is enough. So, for instance, assuming you got 75 cedis, 50 pesos, okay, 75 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos, then that one is okay. You have to leave it that way. You don't need to write 00 again, because it is already in 2 decimal places. Okay, so take note of that. Then the 5th one is that, remember that we don't award marks for quoting formula. For instance, what is a perimeter of a rectangular field, which is 2 centimeters in length and 5 centimeters in width? Okay, then we want to begin by quoting formula. I don't want to discourage you that you should not quote formula. You can, but bear in mind that we don't award marks for formula. Okay, so if you can demonstrate how to get the answer without quoting formula, you still will earn your perfect score. All the marks that you are supposed to get, you still will earn all of those marks. So if you can tell us the process, formula is not necessarily important to examiners. Okay, the marks are earned from the use of the formula. Okay, the how or the methodology. So you still want to write it, fine. I will not stop you from writing your formula, but how you demonstrate the use of the formula, the methodology, is what we are going to look on to score you. Remember also that number 6, answers without units are inaccurate. In marks, when we are awarding your marks, we have an M mark, which is standing for methodology, and we have an A mark, which is standing for answer. Okay, so you may have M1, meaning your methodology is good, so you are earning 1 mark for it. And then A1, maybe the answer is correct, so you are earning 1 mark for it. Okay, but in the answer section, we don't score a half mark. If the total mark for your answer should be 1, and you did something that has to be penalized, you will lose all the mark. You are not going to say, okay, it's supposed to be 1 mark, so let's give you half, and then we take half. No. Okay, we don't give, no, there's no half solutions for your answers. So if your answer is wrong, it's wrong. So you can imagine if an answer is supposed to be 2 centimeters and you only wrote 2 without the centimeters. Okay, we are not going to say that because you got a 2, we'll give you a half. No, because you refuse to bring the unit, you are going to score a 0 mark for your answer. Okay, that's how the scheme counts. So let's take note of that, and then you don't refuse to bring your units. All right, let's look at the next one, number 7. All final answers that come as a proper fraction, all final answers that come as a proper fraction must be reduced to the minimum. You have to reduce it to the minimum. If you get an answer which is coming as a proper fraction, make sure you reduce it to the barest minimum. So for instance, if you get an answer which is, let's say, 2/10, you don't have to leave it like that. Okay, you have to reduce 2/10 to give, let's say, 1/5. Okay, to give 1/5 so that it becomes okay. The same way, if you don't reduce your fractions, you are going to attract A0, which is for your final answer, A0. Your answer mark will be 0 if you don't reduce your fractions. So all fractions that are reducible should be reduced. Similarly, if you have a final answer that is an improper fraction, for instance, you work out something and then you ended up getting an answer which is like 14. Okay, maybe you got 14. Over 10, for instance. Okay, you have to make sure you convert this improper fraction into a mixed fraction. So maybe 1 whole number to 4/10 first. That will give 1 whole number 2/5. Okay, so reduce it to mixed fractions so that you can earn all the marks for that one. Now let's talk about bearings. If you get a question about bearing and it comes in statements, you have to make sure that you sketch or you draw the diagram appropriately according to the way the statement have been asked. Okay, so I give you an example. Assuming in a question you are told the bearing of point A from point B is 80 degrees. Is 80 degrees. So that's the statement. It came to you as a form of a statement or in the form of a statement. You have to sketch the bearing or the diagram as you can see it on our screen. Okay, in the answer, make sure you sketch it. Okay, so any question that comes to you in the form of statement, maybe even equation, they can give you a word problems in equation. Okay, they can give you word problems in let's say area of a rectangle. Okay, make sure you sketch the rectangle, give us the length, give us the width, and then continue with your solution. Okay, let's take note of this. Again, about linear graphs, sometimes you are asked to copy and complete a table, okay, for linear graphs, where they give you a table and then they put in the values of x and some values of y, and you are asked to copy and complete the table. Know that marks are not awarded for the workings, okay? By the marking scheme, marks are not awarded for the workings, so that you cannot expect to get marks from there. That means that the advice is that if you look at the relation given and you study the table well, and you can find the values of y, the missing y values, just copy the table and put in those you have been given, and just include the missing values of y, and then continue with your work. Continue with your work. Don't go and waste time to work out the missing values of y as people would do. The question says, copy and complete. Okay, so just do that. These are things that sometimes you don't know, and then they end up wasting all of our time for nothing, for no mark. So if you look at the relation given and you study the table and you're able to tell the relations, you'll be able to tell the values of the missing y's in the table. So once you're able to tell the values of the y's which are missing, input them in the table, copy the table, put in what you have been given, and include what you have now discovered as part of the missing y values, and go on and plot your graph. Okay, don't waste time in showing the workings for the values of y which are missing. Okay, as we go ahead, if you think you have a question, you can draw my attention. Okay.
Okay.
Now about Venn diagrams. When, for instance, you are asked to label or to draw a Venn diagram for a certain question that has been given, okay, usually there is a way to go about it. Sometimes you see students draw a Venn diagram like this one, as I'm showing here. Then they'll write U, maybe universal set, equals, let's say, 40 or something, okay? And then maybe here is A, maybe for Arabic, and then they maybe put it in the bracket, maybe they write 25 or 19 or whatever, okay? But let's know how to label our Venn diagrams well. In the Venn diagram, in the statement that comes to us, the universal set is given to us as a number. For instance, number of people in the class, number of people who took the exam, number of people who were at the market. It's a number of people, okay? So the correct way to identify or to label your Venn diagrams is by writing it as number of U, okay? As we can see in the Venn diagram over here, I mean, number of U, number of universal sets equals, number of U equals, then whatever figure it is will come. And then the subsets for the circles, number of A, not just A, okay, not just A equals 90, not just B equals 27, but rather number of A, that is N into bracket A. Write it that way. Okay, that's the appropriate way. That's the way the scheme expects you to write it. Okay. And then again, when you are done with this one, and then you want to find the value that you are asked to find. For instance, maybe they ask you to find the number of students who passed in both subjects, maybe who were successful in both A and B. Okay, then that one, you are going to use a variable to represent it, like let's say X, assuming you are supposed to find X, which is the intersection of A and B. That one, you will have to give us a demonstration of what that X represents, okay? And not just with Venn diagrams, but any other question that you are introducing a certain letter yourself to help you solve the problem. Give us a description of that letter. For instance, let X denote the number of students who passed in both subjects, or let X denote the number of students who read biology and accounting, something like that. Okay, so that in the presentation, when we see X anywhere, we know what that X means and what it stands for. Okay, but do not waste your time to describe the subsets in the question. For instance, here, assuming the A is for accounting and B is for biology, don't tell us let A represent the number of students who represent or who like or who read accounting, and let B represent the number of students who like biology. No, that one, the question gave it to us already. So we don't need a description of that one. What we need a description to is the one you are going to find, and you are introducing that theme or that letter, the X, okay? But don't waste time to describe your subset and even your universal set. Something don't write, let you denote the number of universal sets or the number of people in the class. Let A denote the number of students who read accounting. Is not needed. The only one needed for you to describe is your X that you are going to look for. So if it's about the intersection, tell us, let X denote the number of students who like both accounting and biology, or whatever the case may be. You can only do that for the variable you are finding. Okay. Then on plane geometry, remember that students should sketch diagrams before solving, like I indicated. Okay, so if they give you a question on any plane geometry thing, you have to sketch the diagram before you begin your work. So for instance, assuming there is a question, a ladder leans against the wall. The end of the ladder touches the wall 12 meters from the ground. The foot of the ladder is 9 meters away from the foot of the wall. And they're asking you to find something from here. Remember that you will have to sketch the diagram, put the diagram into sketch, like we can see here. Okay, put a diagram in a sketch. You remember that this question is about right angle triangle. Okay, where the ladder is the hypotenuse, we have the wall as the vertical side of the triangle, and then we have the foot of the ladder and the wall being like on the ground, being the other side of the triangle. Okay, so when you sketch it, you'll be able to put all the information that has been given there, and then you go ahead to solve your problem, or the problem that the question is asking you to find. Okay, I'm sure you can do this problem. You can solve this problem. If they ask you to find what's the length of the ladder, can you? Okay, so Paul is gone, waiting for you to come back. Okay, come back, Paul. Reconnect. Plane geometry. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming back.
You're welcome.
I was asking whether you can solve this problem, the one on our right.
Yes, please.
How will you go about it?
You use the Pythagoras Theorem.
Okay. So what do you think we'll get for the hypotenuse?
Let's see. I'm finding it difficult too.
Okay, look on the screen. I'm trying to help you out. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so the Pythagoras theorem is stated like this. The square of the hypotenuse, as we have here, the square of the hypotenuse equals the sum of the squares of the opposite and then the adjacent. So in this case, our hypotenuse is what we are finding. Our opposite is 12 meters, so 12 meters squared plus 9 meters squared. 12 squared will give us 144. So that will give us this. 9 squared will give us 81.
81.
Exactly. Okay, then we can simplify it. Okay. And then we'll be getting 144 plus 81.
Yeah, so the square root of 225 is 25. 20, so the answer will be 25 meters.
Okay, is that the square root of 25 is what? Is that the square root of 225 is what? Hello, Paul?
Hello.
Yeah, is that the square root of 225 is what?
It's 25.
It's 25. Okay, let's check it from here and see 25 by 25. Okay, so 5 times 5 is 25. We are left with 2, right? Then 5 by 2 is 10 plus the 2 is 12. 5, 2 is 10. I left it 1. And then 2 is 4 plus the 1 is 5. Okay. So we'll be getting this. Okay, so 25 squared is not actually 25. 25 squared is actually 65. Okay, so it's
So
15.
the answer is 15, yeah.
Yeah, 15. Okay, thank you. All right, so let's do it. Thank you very much. Okay, then still on plane geometry, sometimes you are giving something like this, like an angle to find, like we can see on the screen. Okay, for instance, assuming they are asking us to find angle ECF, angle ECF, angle ECF. Okay, so angle ECF, the angle formed at C, okay, which is here. Do you have an idea what we can do, or I should help you out?
I would take the 65 degrees. So using the rule that the sum of two opposite angles in an angle is equal to one exterior angle. With the 65 degrees given, and then solve for that.
Okay. So where will you? Okay, so for instance, maybe somebody too may want to, because of what we want to talk about now, maybe let me use this approach. Because we see is this side is an isosceles triangle.
Yeah.
It means that this angle will be equal to this angle, right?
Yes.
That this angle where I'm writing A will be alternate to where we have angle 48, right?
Yes.
I have brought this A there. A wasn't there in the question. This A, I brought it there, this angle A. It wasn't part of the question. I introduced it to help me solve for the main angle that I've been asked to find. So once I know that this 48 and A are alternate, they will be equal. So A will also be 48. A will also be 48, right?
Yes, please.
It means that the other end, the other side of the isosceles will also be 48. So here will also be 48, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so it means that this A, because I introduced it, I need to tell the examiner that let FE, angle CFE be A. Okay, I introduced it into the solution. It wasn't part of the work that came. So I need to tell the examiner that let angle CFE be A. Then anytime the examiner sees A as part of my workings, he knows what I'm talking about. If I don't say it, I don't show or tell the examiner that that angle is A, and I just write it without saying it, the examiner will not know, and that will attract penalty against me. So examiners or marking scheme require that anytime you introduce a certain letter to help you solve a certain problem, which is not what you have been asked to find, you have to give us a description of that letter that you use. So here, I'll tell them, let angle CFE be A. Okay, then from there, I can move on and then even talk about the other side of the isosceles angle. And then also tell them what it means. And then from there, I'll use it to solve. Okay, so now I know that here is A is 48. Here it will also be 48. The two of them will be 96. I'll subtract it from 180 and I'll get where I'm looking for, which is here. I'm sure that's the way to go, right? Okay. All right. Again, similarly, the student can sketch or reproduce diagrams and show their introductions. Then they can use such introductions. So that is what I was trying to talk about earlier on. When you introduce something in your sketches, which is not given in the question, like a letter or something to help you, you have to give us some descriptions of those introductions. And then you also sketch or reproduce a diagram and show the thing that you introduced, the letter you introduced. You can reproduce a diagram and show the letter there. Okay, it makes your presentation better and appropriate. Now let's talk about bar charts. The axes in bar charts are not X or Y axis. Many students make this mistake. Okay, they draw a bar chart and like this, and then they label here X and they label here Y. No, 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 no. The axis in bar chart, if it is going to be a bar chart, okay, like this, the axes are not X and not Y. This error actually will attract a penalty mark from what you have already earned from that question. Okay, a penalty mark of half, sometimes depending on the marking scheme. Okay. All right, sorry for that break. It was a disconnection, but we are back. Okay, so then we are saying that the vertical axis, which is a frequency, okay, the one that you would have called the y-axis, is not y-axis, it's frequency axis, or number of students, or number of candidates, or number of pupils, or number of something, depending on the question. Okay, if you don't want trouble, you can simply write frequency. It's okay. Don't write frequency and still go ahead and write y-axis. No, it's not y-axis. And then the horizontal axis, the one you would have called the x-axis, it's not x-axis. It's also the axis for the event or the data that the question is talking about. So if the data is talking about, let's say, marks, then it's about marks. So for instance, this one that we have on the screen is about month, okay? Month. So this is our month, not x-axis. And then here is number of students, okay? So don't label your bar chart as x-axis and y-axis. They will penalize you. So instead of the x-axis, use frequency on the vertical axis, and if the event or the data on the horizontal axis. So if the question is about marks of students, scores of students, ages of students, or months of the year, then that one will come at the horizontal axis. Okay. Then when you are labeling your bars, when you finish drawing the bar and you are labeling it, especially when they are numbers, okay, maybe we're talking about scores that students got. Sometimes, assuming this is our bar, you see that it's going to write 1 here at the edge of the bar, and then here they'll write 2, they'll write 3 at the edge of the bar on the horizontal axis. No, it has to be written in the middle of the bar. When you are labeling the event, label it in the middle of the bar. So this one that we have, for instance, 1, 2, instead of writing them as 1, 2 at the edges, it is rather going in the middle like this. 1, 2, 3. This mistake is more prominent if the event is a number, okay? But usually when they are like a description, like the way we have here, months of the year, January, February, March, that one they are able to write it in the middle. But take note, don't write it at the edge of the bar, write it in the middle of the bar. So if you use the whole box or the whole 2 centimeters to use or to represent 1 bar, let it be so. Write the number in the middle of it so that you are not penalized for doing otherwise. Okay, again, remember to write the title of your bar chart. So this one, the title is there. I've written the title there. So a bar chart showing birthday of students by month. A bar chart showing the ages of students in the class. A bar chart showing the marks of pupils in an exam, something like that. Find a space at the front or at the top of the bar chart, and then put your title there, depending on the question. Okay. Again, if the scale for the vertical axis is not given in the question, remember to write the scale that you used. So here you see the scale has been indicated. 1 unit length equals 2 students. Okay. So if the question did not give you a scale and you chose a scale to use for the frequency axis or the vertical axis, remember to write the scale. Show the scale, clearly write the scale so that we will know what scale you used. Okay, great. Then for pie chart, ensure that you have a dotted center, not a line. Okay, that means that the center should just be a dot. Some people, when they drew the circle with the compass, they will end up painting the center. Okay, they will do something like this. And at the end of the day, when they are drawing their lines may not all end up at one spot. You see their sectors behaving like this because of the painting. Okay, when you do a pie chart like this, it's absolutely wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Your angles will be wrong. So make sure that we see only a dotted center, just a small dot, something. Okay, sometimes you cannot even, you may decide not to even dot it. The compass pin that you place there is even enough to guide you so that all your lines will go straight to that point. Okay, so that you can earn all your marks. So please make sure that you don't paint your center. Let it just be, the compass mark that was there when you used to draw the circle, and it's okay. Therefore, transformations like rigid motion, translations, reflections, rotations, enlargements. Remember that it is advisable to answer them on the graph, to do the transformations on the graph. Like I indicated, all the workings will, sometimes some students will work out, reflection, the x-axis, x, y maps to x negative y, and then they will do for each of the points. It's needless. It does not award any mark. Okay, so if you can do it graphically, and I think in this platform, we have done several of them already on Joy Learning TV on YouTube. If you go there, you can find how we did these things in our previous videos. Is there. Okay, I have taken students through how to do the rigid motions or the transformations graphically. Is there. So do it on the graph instead of doing it using formula. Okay. Again, in transformations, if you are doing rotation and they don't give you the direction of rotation, the normal one, the default one, is anti-clockwise direction. Okay, it's anti-clockwise direction. So take note of that. If it is not given, it is anti-clockwise direction. Then you take note of that. Okay, then let's look at in the case where you are given some word problems and you want to solve it, some tidbits or some steps that can guide us. Okay, the first one is that remember to read the question several times till you understand the story or till you understand the problem. Read the question several times. Okay, then read sentences and note down the information given and what you are supposed to do. So as you read the sentences, what have you been given? Okay, if it was about a rectangle, have you been given the length? Have you been given the width? Have you been given the area? Have you been given the perimeter? What have you been given in the question? As you read the sentences, you will know. The sentences will also tell you what you are going to find or what you are supposed to find. So you note them down. Then you also need to identify the topic, or sometimes the topics, it will be more than one sometimes, that are involved in the story that you have read, the problem that you have read. What is the topic that it is coming from? From which topic is it coming? Or from which topics are they coming? And recollect all that you know about the topic. So if you read the problem and it's about equations, recollect all you can remember about equations. If it's about area and volume, recollect all you know about area and volume. And it will be a good stepping stone for you to see how to begin the problem. Okay, let me admit somebody. Somebody is trying to join. Okay. So he just joined. All right, John, you are welcome. John, you are welcome. Okay. So let's move on. Then find how you will answer the question. Find how you are going to answer the question. Okay. So the question is how? Sometimes you can form an equation. Sometimes you can make a sketch, like the way we just saw the problem with the Pythagoras Theorem. Okay. Sometimes you can make a sketch. Sometimes you can draw a table. Sometimes you can draw a mapping. Sometimes you can draw a graph. So find how you are going to answer the question. Is it demanding that you make a sketch? Is it demanding that you form an equation? Is it demanding that you make some drawing, some table? Okay, decide on that. And then start with how to solve the problem. Okay, so these are the steps that you would need to consider when you are faced with a word problem. Okay, so before we will conclude these ones, I want us to try our hands on some of these objective questions from sets. Okay, very possible and very likely you will have some questions in sets in the paper 1 objectives. Very, very likely. Every year, about 2-3 questions from sets are there. So let's look at how we can tune our minds to some of them, and then we see how we can answer it. Apart from section A, which is paper 1, you may also get some in paper 2. It's also possible. So let's look at it and see. Okay, so we have these ones on the screen. I want you to see whether you'll be able to answer them for me. Okay, so let's see if you are ready. What do you think will be the number of subsets of set P? What will be the number of subsets? You can unmute it. We look at it.
Okay, so in this case, the formula is 2 raised to the power the number of elements in the set. And then this is there are 4 elements in the set. So it will be 2 raised to the power 4. And then that is equal to 16.
16. Okay. I see. That's great. That's great. Let's look at the next one. So that's it. M is multiples of 4 between 10 and 25. And N is even numbers between 11 and 23. I want you to find M union N.
So we have 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24.
Is it ready?
Yes. Hello. Sir.
Hello, Paul.
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, man. Sir, please, can you hear me?
Hello, Paul.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Do you have some answers?
Yes, I have an answer.
Okay, what is it?
We have 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24.
Great. Great. That's great. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Let's look at this one. Given that A equals set notation A, E, I, O, U, the vowels, and B equals R, S, T, I want A intersection B. What will it be?
This one, you have an empty set. because there's no
What?
intersection. You have an empty set because there's no
Empty set.
intersection. Yes.
Okay. Empty set it is. So remember that your empty set should indeed be empty. Okay, let it be empty. Don't put anything in it, like we have seen on the screen. Okay, some people they'll go and do the empty set and still put the symbol for empty set inside. No, it can mean something. It can mean a member. So
Okay.
it is just empty set, nothing inside. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Now, let's look at this one. A class of 20 pupils and 18 read maths, 13 read English, and 3 read both maths and English. We want to find how many pupils read English only. How many pupils read English only?
You would have 10 students reading English only.
Okay, I think that's great. That's correct. That's correct. It's 10. Wonderful. In a class of 20 people, same question.
Okay.
How many pupils do not read either maths or English?
Yeah, no students.
Okay, let me see. Let's work it together here and see. So we can sketch a Venn diagram, right?
Yes.
Okay. There are 20 people, so N of U is 20. Okay, 8 people read maths, so number of maths is 8, and 13 read English, so number of English is 13. Okay. Now 3 read both maths and English. Where should I put that 3?
In the middle, the intersection.
Sure. So once this is done, it means that I'll be able to find maths only. Maths only. What will be at maths only? I'm talking about this region.
You have 5.
It will be 5. Correct. What about English only?
10.
10, exactly. Okay. Now, we were told that 3 read both English and maths. How many people do not read either mathematics or English? So where are we finding?
Those who do not read either maths or English.
Which is here, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that means the sum of everything in the rectangle should give us 20. So 5 plus 3 plus 10 plus the one we are looking for should give us 20. Right? So when we sum all these, that will give us 18 plus x gives us 20. So x should be what?
2.
2, exactly. So x is 2. Okay. So those who do not read either maths or English is 2. Please, do you get it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So the answer is 2. All right. Now, 40% of students in the class speak Ga and 75% speak Chi. I want to find what percentage of the class speak Ga and Chi.
Okay.
we need to do with getting to the information. If you go into your phone, please apply yourself to your list. Make sure you prepare very well. Make sure you prepare for us. Make sure you relax. And make sure you comport yourself very well when you get to the exams. And before you are going to tell yourself that you are looking to do.
I have no idea of solving this one.
Okay, so let me help you. 40% were speaking Ga. So Ga is 40%. Remember, they are in percentages. And Chi is 75%. Okay, 75. What percentage of the class speak Ga and Chi? You know, when we add 40% to 75%, if you should add it, what do we get?
We would have 115.
Exactly. 115%, right?
Yes.
But if it is percentage, then it means that the total in the class were how many?
I don't get your question.
If we are working in percentage, all of them are in percentages, right?
Yeah. Yes.
That means that the total in the class, the total number of students in the class are supposed to be what?
It should be up to 100%.
100, but the guy in tree is giving us 115.
Yeah.
Okay, so the excess 15% are those who are belonging to both of them. It means we counted them twice.
Okay.
We counted them when we're counting for those who study Ga. When we came to those who are doing tree, we counted them again. So we double count. That's why it is more than 100%.
Okay.
You get that? So
yes,
it means that the excess of 100%, which is 15%, the excess which is 15% are those who are doing both Ga and Chi. It means they were in both of them. So for instance, I said, those who study Ga, raise your hand. So they were part of those who raised their hands, and I counted them. Okay, bring your hands down. Those who are also doing Chi, you two raise your hands. Then they too, because they are also doing Chi, they raise their hand again. So I counted them again.
okay.
That's the reason why the number is exceeding 100%, because they have been counted twice. So the difference are accounted for because of those who are doing both the Ga and the Chi. Okay. So it's actually 15%. 15%.
Okay.
All right. Now, the same question. But now I'm finding out how many of them speak Chi. How many of them speak Chi? Can you do it or I should help you?
I would try, make an attempt.
Sure, that's good.
So there's something called a fault, like when children, when students are writing exams and then they asking their friends or maybe writing it on the paper or something. So why are you going to prevent that? We can go to prevent. Is to restore the
Okay, let me help. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you see, this time they are telling us there are 40 students in the class. Okay, 40. Now they are giving us the real numbers. I mean, the real number of students in the class. So if we were told that 75% are those 75% And now they are 40. This is also 75% of the 40
Okay,
students.
so some people, like most
So we
students,
have to work out
normally get some of the questions before they
that will be the
do
answer.
Okay, okay.
That should be better.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. Great
Great
attempt. Okay, I want to find the value of x in this one.
When it comes to an issue of repayments,
10.
10. Exactly. Good. Good. It's 10.
So more people will have
Move on.
things and they say that these are
In a secondary school, 23 pupils study econs, 6 study both government and economics, 48 people study either government or economics or both. What is the total number of pupils who study government?
We are involved the Ghana Police Service, involved the
Okay.
national investigation, the national security have all been brought in to help improve.
Always good to make the sketch or the drawings or the Venn diagram.
Right, like some of the students right over these.
Some of those we will blacklist you in you cannot take in any activity online. And then also you also report to your employers. Most of them the Ghana education system. And I say that the years have been very good to understand how much you are spending. Just get all those experiences.
Okay, so viewers, you can join us via our line 0302-211-70124. The number 0302-211-70124.
I'm trying to give you a hint here.
Join the conversation.
Okay. So can we follow it from here? It means that we need to find this place, which is government only.
Yes.
We need to find government only. Okay, so since we were told that there are 48 who study either government or econs, it means that's a universal set. Okay, so we can put it together to 6 and then to x, which is the government only, and this should be as 48. Look at it, 17, this will give us 23.
We do is we create an opportunity for you to be able to set
Okay, so plus x will give us 48. So that x will give us 48 minus 23. That should give us
25.
But the question was asking for the total number of people who study government. It didn't ask for government only. It's asking for government. So what should be the answer?
You would add the total number of students who study both government and economics, that's 6, to the 25 to give you 31. 31 students.
That's 31. Okay. Now the same question, but we want to find how many people study only economics.
17 students.
17. Okay. That is great. 17. That is great. Okay. Now, same question. We are asking how many people study only government.
The DSK does not permit students will move into a terminal year. That is, you move from 4 to
25 students.
25. 25. Describe the relationship between the sets A and B.
So we have a call on the line.
What will you say?
Yes. There is no relationship.
Yeah, so if there is no relationship, what can we possibly say? There is a mathematical terminology that we can use. What type of sets are they?
Empty set.
No, the two sets, the two circles inside the rectangle. How can we describe those two sets?
Hey.
Okay. So they are disjoint sets, okay?
Okay.
Joint sets. Or somebody will say A intersection B is empty. Empty, or they are simply disjoint sets. Okay. Now let's look at this one. It has been given to us in the form of the diagram. I want us to find how many pupils of mathematics. How many pupils offer mathematics? What answer will you give?
25.
Good. 25. 25. Okay. That's wonderful. Then now, same question. How many pupils offer only one subject? Only one subject.
Um, 21 students.
Great. How did you get it?
You add the number of pupils in, like, those who study only maths and then only English together.
Finally, I believe we want to find n of A intersection B for these two sets. N of A intersection B for these two sets.
Okay, so we have 6 and 8.
Look at the question well. What we are finding.
6 and 8.
Yeah, but look at it. We are looking for the cardinality, like the number.
Okay. So 2.
2. Exactly. 2. That's great. Okay, great. Okay, I think the last one here. In a class of 24 pupils, 10 study French only, and 8 study English only. Each pupil studies at least one of the two subjects. How many study English? Okay, so there is 24. End of U is 24. Okay, French only. So if this is French, it's 10. Okay, and English only is 8. So this is English only is 8. How many study English? How many study English?
14 students.
How did you get a 14?
You in the question the question says that if each pupil studies at least one of the two subjects, how many study English? So we add the students who study only French and English together, and then subtract it from the total number of students, that's 24, to get those who study both French and English. Then you add that number to the students who study only English.
Well, thank you very much for the tenacity. Thank you very much for the enthusiasm, the zeal, the patience that you had for us. You waited for us. This is the second time I'm meeting you online. The first time I was here, you joined me. What's the name of your school again?
Presec Staff Basic School.
Come again.
Presec Staff Basic School.
Yeah. Precise stuff. Okay. Basic school. Okay. Okay. I want to, for record purposes, okay, I want you to go to the chat room and put your number and name of school there so that, because we are recording the session, so that it will be official and formal. I hope you can do that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so put your name, it will come with your name, so your name is not needed, but your school and then your telephone number.
It's not showing my own information.
And your telephone number.
Contribution for this action. What question would you like?
Great. Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. And this is where we are bringing the session to an end. I wish you the best of luck as we begin tomorrow. I pray. Are you writing? Are you part of the candidates?
Yes, please.
Okay. I pray for you that as you are writing from Monday, may God give you special grace. May the wisdom that was upon Solomon be upon you, and the excellent spirit of Daniel follow you. May God bring to memory all that you have learned, and may his grace be sufficient unto you, and may you come out successful. In Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for joining, and see you again. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you too. That's been very helpful.
Yeah.
Deleted that.